The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100 and get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/wynnbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is December 1st here to talk about some MLB news and notes and get caught up on the American League. I know Dylan and Mal did the National League, but me and my co-host, Noah Bieniek, are going to handle the American League. Noah, what's going on, my man?
Nothing too crazy baseball-wise, Munaf, but I think both of you have our hands full with some basketball, and my football passion has been extended based on my team's play so far in the Michigan Wolverines. So how about yourself?
Yeah, NBA's been keeping me busy, of course, and we're also doing the NFL gambling podcast as well. So both I know, and then I know Malcolm is doing the World Cup. So things
Yeah,
didn't really slow down for any of us as soon
that's a
as
good thing.
MLB was over.
Staying in repetition.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, Mal and Dylan did the National League review of the awards and some offseason moves that have happened so far this offseason in the Major League Baseball. So Noah and I will talk about the American League awards here, and then we'll
And
get
hey,
into
we
some.
specialize on the American League. You're Boston and
Yeah.
Astros fan. I'm a Tigers diehard, but you know, uh, yeah, we separated it pretty well, I think.
Yep. So let's just get into the awards here, Noah. We'll start from maybe top to bottom, or we'll just randomly go through it. But let's start with the manager of the year. I thought this was going to be an intriguing award for sure, and obviously Terry Francona of the Cleveland Guardians took home that award. Um, the Cleveland Guardians. I know we were talking about betting on the Chicago White Sox to kind of wind down the season, thinking they had a
Yeah.
chance after all the Tony La Russa news happened.
Oh,
And
I was drunk on the Sox all year long though, so
yeah,
I'll exclude myself from that conversation.
and then the Guardians eventually pulled away um, b- um, in that division. They finished up with a record of 92-70. I think deservedly so. Terry Francona for what he was able to do with that team. Got that award. I think this is his
Third, I
third
think,
one, right? Yeah, third time in 10 seasons.
off the top of the head, baby.
Yeah, there you go for Terry Francona to win the award there. Any objections on that one, Noah?
No, I think the job that he did with the roster and the situation that he was given, and we talked about it a lot at the end of the year. It was kind of just like us eating shit in the final 3 weeks when Cleveland had wrapped it up. Like owning up to, hey, we bought into all the preseason talk of, you know, they're gonna trade J Ram. They didn't trade J Ram. They extended him, but still they had an all-star third baseman,
Mhm.
a good starting pitching staff, and one of the best bullpens in the majors. And that sounds like a lot, but you're missing 8 other position players. And a lot of that, the success that came from the season, I attribute to Francona. The craziest stat, and of course, my team's at the forefront of it, unfortunately. The Tigers hit the least amount of home runs in the season. This is why I know this off the top of my head. I believe the Guardians hit 127, and it ranked 29th out of 30 teams. I mean, like the way that the game of baseball is being played nowadays, it's long ball
Mhm.
and pitching for strikeouts. It's
Yeah.
either like when you miss, we're murdering that baseball, and when you are hitting your spots, we're swinging and missing. That team was one of the few teams in the majors that completely took it the opposite way. And they were like, we're going to put the ball on play and make you play good defense to beat us because we know we don't have the pop. and I attribute that to coaching. I would not. I would not. Um, I mean, I wouldn't pick anybody else for that award.
Yeah, I think that, I'll be the first one to admit this, and I think this is like the second or third time I'm admitting that I was down on this Cleveland Guardians team coming into the season, right? And for a lot of things that you just mentioned there, right? They didn't have a guys in this lineup that had a lot of pop off of their bat, right? Jose Ramirez finished the season with 29 home runs. The next guy for them to hit the most amount of home runs was Josh Nyler. He finished the season up with 20, but they had guys that could hit for average on this team, and I think we saw that throughout the season, right? Stephen Kwan, 298. Andres Jimenez, 297. Ahmad Rosario, 283. Jose Ramirez, 280. So they had guys that could get on base, and then that's how they really manufactured their run. So, Tarek Francona is an old school guy, and he found ways to get it done. So, yeah, give him credit. Gets the job done here. I think the Cleveland Guardians, I think they'll be right back in the fold next year here, Noah.
Yeah, I think so, because as we're gonna get into this later in the podcast, the White Sox kind of missed out on their window.
Big time.
So,
all right, so let's get over to the next award in this American League. Let's go over to the Rookie of the Year. This was not really much of a competition here. It was going to be
Jeremy Pena, right?
I mean, look, a lot of us thought, or at least I thought it was going to be Jeremy Pena, but Julio Rodriguez just came out of nowhere when they did call him up to take home the Rookie of the Year honors. The Seattle Mariners outfielder. He looked amazing, and for him to come out for the Seattle Mariners, hit 28 home runs. His B WAR was 6.0, F WAR was 5.3, OPS 854, WRC plus 146, and he had a total of 260 bases. He joined Mike Trout as the only players in the American and National League history with at least 25 home runs, 25 stolen bases, and at least a 800 OPS in their rookie season. So
yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
didn't know you were going to hand that off to me, but
No, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, dude, like Dusty even said it too. It's the only Dominican that came out of the University of Maine. Like it's a joke, one, but two, it speaks to his dedication to the craft. Like to go up into an isolated place for college and just work on yourself and take the long way, because a lot of international kids, they go straight into the systems.
Yeah.
And him wanting to get, I attribute it also to his dad. Has baseball background in his family, and just I mean, he speaks really well. So to learn the language, that's a very tough part that a lot of people don't even think about. And to get a degree or work for that degree, I attribute that as well. But I mean, this kid had to fill big shoes this year, like Carlos Correa playing the shortstop position. I love the interview that, you had to see TBS with Carlos Correa working the desk with them, interviewing Jeremy Pena during the postseason as he helps them win the divisional series. Then he's in the ALCS. He interviews him during like game 5. Or no, it was game 3, and then he wins the MVP in game 4. Then he goes on to win World Series MVP. I mean, he has the same amount of MVPs as Correa now, right? Correct.
As far as World Series MVPs go, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think for Jeremy Pena, that unfortunately he didn't get the Rookie of the Year honors for the regular season, which I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine too,
because he got a ring and he got the World Series MVP, and I don't think a lot of rookies are able to say that in their time. But as far as Julio Rodriguez goes, look, he gets the American League MVP. Now this gives a player for the Seattle Mariners to get excited around for the very foreseeable future. I think they did lock him up to a long-term contract, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a 13-year deal.
Yeah. So for him to be at the top of the lineup, for the guy that he can hit for average, he can hit for power. If you're a Mariners fan, this is something really to be excited about. I think they were really hoping Jared Kelenic was also going to be that guy for them, Noah. But you probably know more about Jared Kelenic trying to be that guy for this team as well. But as far as Julio Rodriguez, I don't think it was much of a competition for him.
Yeah, I think Kelenic really sums up, DePoto's aggressiveness in the market, whether it comes in free agent wise or whether it comes via trade. I mean, he went balls to the wall on this rebuild, and you throw darts at the dartboard, and some are going to hit for bullseyes and some are going to hit for ones. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Kelenic is a 1-pointer on the dartboard. You get 3 throws, just like you get 3 strikes in baseball. And I mean, J-Rod completely took over, and like you said, he's the pulse of the city. Like, that city, I think, desperately needed just an icon or a figure. Apologize to Blake as I'm going to say this. He's a host of the Fantasy Baseball Podcast, but no presence in the sports world from that city for quite some time.
Yeah.
And for Julio Rodriguez to step up and do what he did in his first year in the pros, that's unprecedented. And we were talking about this in the Discord. It's going to be hard to expect that kind of year from the next not even AL, but NL Rookie of the Year as well.
I think for Seattle, obviously, like they lost the basketball team a while back to Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's really they have the Seahawks who, coming into the season, people thought weren't going to be very good, but they gave them some excitement. But I think if you're
how about
talking,
that? I got Geno in the last round of our draft, and I stacked DK and Lockett with value. I'm looking all right with our team in our league.
Not too bad there. I mean, nobody expected Geno Smith to be looking this good.
I've got a Seahawks Lions stacked, believe it or
not. But yeah, look, for Seattle, I think they're set up very well for the future. Obviously, they also traded for Luis Castillo in their pitching rotation, and more importantly, they have guys, and that they have a manager as well that's very, very competent. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. In the AL West as well. So,
and guys, we'll get to the later trades, the ones that happen in the offseason. We're not forgetting.
Yeah. All right. So that covers Manager of the Year and Rookie of the Year. Obviously, let's get over to Cy Young. I don't think this was going to be much of
I will say this. I want to plug in Adley. Amazing year from that guy, and I've been a huge fan of him since college. One of the best catchers in the league in his rookie year, and he will be throughout his career. Catcher is not a very deep position, and the year that he had, immediately put him in the top 5, and immediately has him on my must draft for fantasy list next year.
Oh yeah, 100%. Things changed for the Baltimore Orioles as soon as they called them up. No.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that guy, he finished what, 8th in WAR in general in the AL. Like, they were somewhat throwing him into conversation for fun for MVP. That's how good of a year he had. So, and he came up in June. It's crazy. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out. It was J-Rod's award to lose. I think he had the burst on the scene stardom during the home run derby. That's when a lot of people began to really, really indulge in his game. But he continued to elevate his level throughout the second half that, Adley just couldn't catch up to because he didn't play in the first 2 months. So the cumulative stats, he didn't catch up to J-Rod. And I completely agree that because he was able to sustain that success throughout the year, it was J-Rod's award.
Yeah, Adley Rutschman finished up number 11 as far as WAR in the American League. And that was ahead of names like Carlos. He finished under Carlos Correa, but he finished above names like Kyle Tucker, Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, Alex Bregman. Those were the next 4 guys. And
Altuve had there was a crazy stat that Altuve had a better WRC plus this year than in his MVP year. So that's
yeah, he did. And also he finished ahead of Rafael Devers, Corey Seager, just to throw some more names out there. Vladimir
the
Guerrero
entire
Jr.
Tigers team combined.
Yeah, pretty much, because I don't see a Tigers name here, at least in the top 50 here. Noah, sorry. Let's get over to Cy Young here. Noah, I don't think this was much of a, I guess, competition, we can say, with Justin Verlander just taking it home the year that he had for the Houston Astros. And also the narrative was there for him as well, right? Coming off the Tommy John surgery. Finished up the year 18-4, 1.75 ERA, pitched 175 innings, only allowed 34 earned runs, 185 strikeouts, had a WAR of 5.9. Now, that wasn't the highest WAR in, I believe, in the American League, but just his pure numbers for him to get 18 wins, which was the most in the American League, and also, let's see here, strikeouts.
I mean,
he finished.
Just speaking to you, I know we didn't write down any of the bets that we missed or hit with these player props in general, but just speaking to you, I believe you sprinkled on all three of the nominees for the AL Cy Young at some point this year.
Yeah,
because we as a group rode JV at like plus 450 at All-Star break, and it took 2 weeks for him to become a minus favorite.
I want to say I had Dylan Cease.
I think you did.
Or strikeouts.
We hit on JV. Oh, yeah. You had him for strikeouts. I know you had Alek Manoah as your preseason pick.
Yeah, I did.
AL Cy Young, but I know you added JV with me and Mel at half All-Star break. And I want to say you sprinkled on Cease somewhere in between as well.
Yeah, and I think it was either Sean or Ryan when I did the preseason show with them before the season that one of those guys did take Justin Verlander at 25-1 before the season started. So, I think that was a pretty good. I think this was I love betting on Cy Youngs before the season. I don't know what it is, Noah, but it's just a really fun market to attack.
I love the pitcher market in general. I think I did well. I had both saves leaders. At the end of the year. So I think it was Kenley, and then whoever else was giving Kenley a run, I had him as well, and I hit like a 20-1 on that. But yeah, I mean, like throughout the year, I feel like that was the market that really I was able to pick up and do really well at, and that's for sure. So
100%, good stuff. Anything else for Cy Young?
I mean, in a normal year, I think both these guys end up winning it. Like Dylan Cease, it was crazy that he was even robbed of an All-Star game appearance.
That's crazy.
He finished with a 2.20 ERA and 184 innings. He had 9 more innings than Verlander. Verlander was 18-4 with a 1.75 ERA. Bouncing back from Tommy John, it's hard to beat. Alek Manoah, who you had a future on. I'm now a fan of him because also in the All-Star game really showed his personality as well, just gleaming through the televisions in America. So all three of those guys were really likable throughout the year because Manoah with the presence on the mound, Cease with the amazing strikeout numbers, and Verlander because of the narrative. It was a really cool AL Cy Young to watch throughout the year. And I'm glad that we were on the side that it was a legendary seasonal performance that we were able to tail and get correct.
100%. All right. And then final award in the American League, the MVP. I mean, this was no competition here. Aaron Judge runs away with this award in 2024 American League MVP. Finishes the year with 62 home runs, I believe. 62 home runs, 131 RBIs. He batted .311 for the New York Yankees. Finished up with a WAR of 10.6. The next closest player in the American League was Andres Jimenez at 7.2. So, and I think we saw this throughout the year too, Noah. Like when Aaron Judge wasn't hitting, this team wasn't doing very well. And he did have spells where he was going to go cold, but we couldn't expect a guy like Aaron Judge to go out and hit 2 for 4 every single night with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. I mean, that's just really impossible to do. But when he was on, he was, pretty much the offense for the New York Yankees. And look, Noah, he ran away with the American League MVP. So I'm not going to argue it here much. I mean, any argument for Aaron Judge, I don't think there's one to be made.
Well, I'll give you props for accepting it.
Okay.
that Aaron Judge, I guess, pulled away in your eyes. My whole thing is like the whole WAR stat is dumb in general.
Yeah.
And when you have a dude that's doing it both on the mound and at the plate, and it only counts as a DH, and you're not counting his stuff on the mound,
Mhm.
when he had a streak of 7 games in a row where the Angels lost 4 or 5 games and then they won a game when he was on the mound. And now I'm referring to, if you live under a rock, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
But it was for me like I was preaching Ohtani. I had a seasonal future on him for AL MVP. I thought it was a
Sure.
slam dunk, unless some dude goes out and hits a home run record, which is what Aaron Judge did, and what we all didn't expect because he had never stayed healthy for a full 162.
Mhm.
And he even had somewhat of a little bit of a hiccup in the middle of the year with he was out for like 2 weeks, and we still doubted him. And Malcolm and I placed a Jordan bet at
Yeah.
All-Star break. That one blew up in our face. I was still hesitant to accept it until about 3 weeks before the season ended, when it was like, okay, this guy's actually got a chance to go out and chase Maris's record. Then he slumps, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I mean, like, when is Roger Maris's son going to not have to watch Yankees baseball games again? But yeah, I mean, yeah, he was. It was a good year to pick Judge, because at this point, if Judge didn't win it, then Otani's a shoe in each year. So now I get to go in and get plus odds for Otani next year, because he will win AL MVP in my opinion next year.
Yeah. Ohtani. Look, I think no, it probably has to be an automatic bet every single year, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Like, I mean, just for whatever, like what he's able to do, both pitching and hitting.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to watch what he's able to do. So yeah, I think that you probably got to put in a automatic bet on Otani every single year. But look, give credit to Aaron Judge for what
We
he was
are.
able to do this year. And I mean, no arguments from me, no arguments from anyone on our pod about him winning the MVP.
Props to you for accepting it as a Red Sox fan. That's when
Yeah, I mean, look,
it was legit. It was legit.
it was, yeah. Look, despite him playing in a little
Was he
league
was he
ballpark,
unanimous? Did he get 30 out of 30?
I mean, I would imagine he did, right? I don't
I
see
would
that in
think he
front of
did
me.
too. I'll look it up. You can continue on your thought.
Yeah, I think it was really between him and Otani, and
Yeah, I think
I
he
don't think
actually got 28 out of 30.
okay, yeah, close enough,
Yeah.
28-2, but yeah. All right, so that pretty much does it for the awards. MVP, Cy Young, Rookie, Manager of the Year. The Hank Aaron Awards went to also Aaron Judge in the American League, and then Paul Goldschmidt, the MVP in the National League. And then the Roberto Clemente Award, Justin Turner for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm sorry, and now free agent Justin Turner, but. Before we get into some free agency stuff and some other news and notes in the American League here, Noah, let me tell our listeners about our presenting sponsor, WinBet. And if you're thinking of joining WinBet, and if you're ready to win money and boost your odds, WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. We're bringing the excitement of Win Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Exclusive rewards are right at your fingertips with Win Rewards on WinBet. Looking to get involved in the same game parlay? WinBet is your home with their WinBet Build Your Own Bet, letting you customize the bet you want to make. Great promos, odds, and payouts are happening right now at WinBet. WinBet has what you need to win. Ready to play? Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet 100 to win 100. There's so much to choose from, and all you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 years or older and present in a state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you're somebody you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. Let's see here, Noah. Where do we want to go with some free agency stuff? I think we'll start with the first one that kind of made headways here. It was the Angels trading for Hunter Renfroe from the Milwaukee Brewers and adding another bat in that lineup for the Los Angeles for the Los Angeles Angels. I'm sorry. And look, Hunter Renfroe last year had a really good year for the Milwaukee Brewers, and he's a guy that can get you 25 to 30 home runs on a given year. Last year, he finished up the season batting 255. He finished up with 29 home runs, 72 RBIs, had an OPS of 807. The previous year, he was with the Red Sox. He finished up that year with 31 home runs, 96 RBIs. So, this kind of gives the Angels another bat in their lineup, right behind, obviously, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. But what did you think about the move here about Hunter Renfroe from Milwaukee to the Angels?
You said the first one that, I don't know, would you say jumps off the page or caught our attention?
I think it was the first trade that happened in the offseason, was what I was trying to say. It caught my eye for sure because we're baseball junkies, but maybe for the casual fan, maybe not.
There was plenty before. That's all I'm going. That's all I'm gonna razz.
Maybe that's all I
here,
remember right now.
Okay, Hunter Renfroe. I don't know what Milwaukee's doing. Like, they send away their best bopper. Like, literally, the dude that hit the most home runs for him last season, I think.
Yes,
Hunter Renfroe. They get 3 pitchers in return for him. Now, I'm not doubting Milwaukee's front office and acquiring talent because, their pitching staff has been pretty dang good over the past few years, but not a single name jumps off the page, in my opinion. And we talked about this in the Discord, and this is literally, the Angels literally went out and got the right field Mike Trout 0.5. Like, he looks sort of like Mike Trout. He plays great defense like Mike Trout. He hits for power like Mike Trout. Mm-hmm. He has a better arm than Trout in right field, but he hits for less contact. So in that case, I mean, you throw him in the top 5 of your batting lineup that already kind of looks underrated on paper for how bad they played last year.
Yeah.
You have Taylor Ward, who flew under the radar, batting 4th, your cleanup guy, which is, I think, where Renfroe's going to go, and Ward's probably going to bat 5 or 2 now. I think it goes, if you want to keep Ohtani at 1, you go Ohtani, and I think you go Ward, then I think you go Trout, then you go Renfroe, and then actually I forgot Fletch. So
I would go Fletch at the top of the
Fletch
lineup.
They went Ohtani at 1.
Yeah, that's true.
So Ohtani, Fletch, like, you can't put Trouty behind Fletch. So you got to go Ohtani. No, you can't have Trout after 3 though. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's a good problem to have then.
It is a great problem to have. I mean, Renfroe is a great acquisition for the Angels. The other acquisitions that the Angels made before him, actually, to make this thing, like, this lineup even more, like, kind of under the radar. I'm going to keep saying that because I think a lot of people are going to end up jumping back onto the Angels bandwagon once again come March. So if you want a piece of the Angels, jump in on them around this time because they grabbed Tyler Anderson. Dodgers top, like, he was a top 3, top 4 pitcher on the Dodgers starting rotation. But on this Angels rotation, he turns into the number 2 behind Ohtani. You don't, like, they didn't even pay him to be the number 2. They paid him to be the number 3 or 4. They gave him 39 for 3.
Yeah.
178.2 innings pitched last year with a 2.78 ERA. He'll be a midweek starter. Excuse my college baseball brain. He's going to be a 3rd or 4th starter, not a midweek starter. He's a good lefty to have to take a shot on because he did perform well. But you have to keep in your mind, like, that's the Dodgers pitching staff that molded this dude. So you have Tyler Anderson that you got early in November. Then they had a under the radar trade as well with the Twins for Gio Urshela.
Yep.
he's either going to play third because you can't rely on Anthony Rendon to stay healthy, or he plays short and you move Velasquez to second and Fletch goes to the outfield. Or Velasquez goes to the outfield, Fletch stays at second. But either those guys are interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
But if Rendon can stay healthy, you don't have to have a pure contact hitter in your lineup like Velasquez with not much pop or Fletcher with not much pop, and you have them as a defensive replacement for Gio.
Yeah.
It works out really well if Rendon stays healthy, which I'm not relying on him to. But this trade indicates to me that, the ship has somewhat sailed on Rendon's health. The dude, even when never playing, like if he enters the season healthy, he's a top 10 third baseman. So I think this Angels squad looks much better on paper. And if you like them, get in on them now, because they're only going to continue to improve that pitching staff, and it's a brand new front office. They got rid of a lot of those guys in the front office. New regime, new thought process. They're building it. They're trying to build the pitching up. Like, the pitching's coming, but they're being very aggressive in some of these acquisitions for sure.
Yeah, Tyler Anderson last year for the Dodgers led that team in innings pitched. He led that team.
Which says something when they pull their pitchers after 5 or 6 innings.
Yeah, 178 and 2/3 innings pitched last year. He finished up with an ERA of 2.57. Did Tyler Anderson, and now he heads over to the Angels, who again gives him a solid number 3 guy, like you mentioned there. And this was something I talked about for the past 2 off seasons for the Los Angeles Angels, that they need to get more pitching into this team. Obviously, you're relying a lot on Ohtani. You have now Patrick Sandoval, you have Reed Detmers, you have Jose Suarez, and now you add Tyler Anderson into that fold. I think that's pretty formidable for this Angels team. And who knows if they're even able to go out and maybe get another ace right up there with Ohtani. I think that would really put this Angels team over the top here, Noah. Anything else for this Angels team? Where I know Tyler Anderson and Hunter Renfroe.
No, I think we covered that Angels team pretty well.
Yeah.
I think they've made a lot of noise here. They were definitely the most active so far in November.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most exciting though.
Yeah, and I think there was just little pieces of what they just kind of needed to put together for this roster, because again, you have arguably the 2 best players in the entire MLB on your roster with Ohtani and Mike Trout, and when those guys stay healthy, you need to take advantage of this. And I think that they're starting to make the right moves to improve the pitching and the overall roster for them to compete in that AL West, where you have the defending World Series champions, you have the Seattle Mariners, who started building their contendership over the past 2 off seasons. But yeah, the Angels got to do something as well. What else do we have in the American League? I think the news a couple days ago as well, Astros signing Jose Abreu, the former AL MVP of the 2020 shortened season.
Yeah, don't bury this lead. You knew you wanted to start off with this, and you went with Hunter Renfroe. Come on.
No, man. I was trying to go in order, but obviously it is big news. I knew we were going to talk about it at some point.
Jump off the page. Come on.
This one jumps off the page big time here. I mean, this kind of came out of left field for me.
Caught me off guard too.
Yeah, it really did. I know there were and I follow the local guys here as far as the guys that covered the Astros, and Jose Abreu's name was mentioned as a possibility at first base, but I didn't really think that it was going to come into fruition for the Astros. But hey, they signed him to a 3-year, $58.8 million deal to come in and play first base for the Houston Astros, and that just adds another big bat to this already potent offense here, Noah.
Yeah, I mean, first base wasn't the need that jumped off the page, in my opinion. Like, for you to go out and get Jose Abreu. Yeah, it was outfield. You needed one outfielder. But I mean, what a signing. I mean, my first thought when I saw Jose Abreu come across my screen was White Sox. Second thought was, holy shit, he's now an Astro. what's going to happen with Yuli Gurriel. He was your glue guy. I mean, he has a lot of postseason experience as well. He was the second best performer throughout the entire postseason for you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't think you guys needed the first baseman, needed outfield more. I already touched on that. But then I thought about it more. I gave it a little bit of thought. We're talking about it in the Discord. We got Blake in it as well with us. Jose Abreu fits the offensive scheme of the Houston Astros more than maybe any other player on the market this season. Dude won a batting title not too long ago. He doesn't strike out. He plays good enough defense. He puts the ball in play. He gets on base and has more pop than Yuli. So you're the Astro guy. I guess it's not like a huge loss now that you have Abreu. But, I mean, Yuli is a fun character on the team. What happens with Yuli?
There's still talks that they want to bring him back in some type of utility role, and whether that's being a bench guy, because I know you and I were kind of going back and forth about his age and stuff like that. And
just joking.
His official date of birth. Look, he is 38 years old, right? And
that's
I think
what the birth certificate says. That was the joke.
So and look, last year he did with the batting title for this Astros team. 319 last year. He finished up the year with 15 home runs. This season, obviously, it was a down year for him. There were stretches where he did really struggle for this Astros team. And I knew that at some point that he was, after the season, in my mind, and I think a lot of true Astros fans that follow the team knew that this was probably going to be his last year at first base for the Houston Astros. Now, we'll see if they do bring him back. I know he still wants to come back to the Astros, whether that's, again, in a utility role or however Dusty Baker sees fit for Yuli. But again, we talked about with this Astros team, great, you add another offensive guy to the lineup. You get your first baseman in Jose Abreu, but I still think they need an outfielder. Now, we don't know if Michael Brantley, Uncle Mike, is going to be back healthy to come in and play either left or right field for this team. And I know they do want to play Jordan more in the outfield as well, due to the Houston Astros. So I think they still need another left-handed reliever. I think the big question mark now is, as the days kind of progress here, it almost seems like that Justin Verlander won't be back with this team here. No, and I know there's some reports out there that it seems like the Dodgers are the front runners right now for Justin Verlander. Maybe his days are over here with the Houston Astros, but right now, the excitement is around Jose Abreu. And if you had a gun to my head, I would probably guess that Justin Verlander is not back with this team.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. You also mentioned left-handed reliever, the one head scratcher. Like, I can understand you're not paying a 40-year-old right-handed starting pitcher $100 for $3. But you paid Rafael Montero $34 for $3.
Yeah.
What was that?
He was really good for this team in the postseason. I think they got him last year, didn't they?
He got burned against the Phillies, I think. I think he was one of the few relievers in the bullpen that gave up an earned run in the postseason.
Yeah, and
34 for $3 is a lot for
a reliever. Yeah, it is.
Not even a closer.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't hate it. I think that this team and the owner already came out and said that, hey, we have the resources to pay our players. If we need to go over the spending, we're going to do it. So I think money's not an issue with the owner, with Jim Crane. Right. And again, this team doesn't have a general manager right now either. They let James Click go. They couldn't come to a long-term agreement. So they're right now functioning without a GM, is this Astros team. So again, it'll be interesting to see what more kind of transpired, because they did say they're not done getting more free agents for this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think starting pitching is good, but like you said, left-handed reliever, outfielder, preferred right-handed batting outfielder, because right now you would have 4 left-handed batting outfielders. 3.
It would be
3. Chaz is right. Yeah,
Chaz is a righty.
So it's three lefties and then Chaz, which I don't know if you want Chaz as long term. But you open the door to the Justin Verlander conversation. Elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
He's expecting an elite veteran contract. Funny
Scherzer
enough,
money.
exactly. Funny enough, it's like he's expecting something similar to Scherzer. 100 for 3 is, I think, what Scherzer got, somewhere around in that ballpark. And like I said, funny enough, like these two dudes have been like in emasculating, battle over money for quite some time since he was on, or they were both on the Tigers pitching staff.
Yeah.
That's the reason why Scherzer became a national, is that, we didn't want to pay both dudes.
Yeah.
And we stuck with the hometown guy, even though Max Scherzer might have been a little bit of a more dominant pitcher. Top landing spots for me. You mentioned the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's then Houston,
Okay.
but it's also then Texas. He's firmly rooted his family, his new grown family, both wife in Kate Upton and daughter in Vivian, in Texas. So I think he wants Houston or Texas, and then LA just for Kate because she liked going out there.
Yeah.
I can sneak my Tigers back into this, right?
Stop it. Stop.
But another major market team could be the Mets. It's just like a team that's willing to burn the load on a veteran pitcher.
Yeah.
Going out, but he's still coming off a Cy year. Like, you're not going to doubt that he can go out there and do it again.
Yeah.
So for Tom Brady, the GOAT, no, Justin Verlander, I think it's worthy of him to play the market, but I think I have more faith in him ending up an Astro at the end of this than you do.
Yeah, I think he does have the bargaining chip that, hey, I'm coming off of Cy Young, off of Tommy John surgery, but also the age is obviously a concern that you don't want to give him this significant contract.
I think he's just playing it to see what he's going to get.
Sure.
And I think Houston or Detroit gets a little bit of a hometown discount if LA or New York is not willing to pay up.
Yeah, because he's going to have to get maximum money from LA or New York, because right down here there's no income tax here in Texas. Where if you go to California, he's going to have to try to get every penny that he can get out of either the Dodgers or, shall we maybe even say, the Angels to add another arm into that rotation. That would be big. What else you got on your page there, Noah? Anything else that's stuck out to you as far as free agent moves so far?
Yeah, I got 2 more teams that I guess we could touch on. Do you want to go with perennial letdown or like new and electric? Which way do you want to go?
Let's end the show positive. So we'll see. We'll go with the letdown right now.
All right, the Yankees.
Okay.
The regular season world champions. Oh wait, they weren't the 1 seed in the AL either. So congrats, Malcolm, on that World Series bet. Anyways, Anthony Rizzo. He re-signed, and dude, he's a perfect match for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Great defensive first baseman, short porch god. And like, let's not forget, like, this guy was somewhat sort of the home run leader for a quarter of the season. Like, dude just hit fly balls that scraped the wall and right during April and May. And it was really, I remember tweeting out, like, on the MLB SGPN Twitter handle, like, Anthony Rizzo for MVP. And like, you had the little emoji, like the Italian thing going on with the whole New York mantra. But guy finished with 32 home runs. He hit for average. He hit for on base percentage. He was the best OBP hitter on that team that played throughout the year. And it's only going to rise because the shift is being banned. This is a pretty much pull hitter.
Yeah.
And like, he adjusted his swing so he didn't ground into the shortstop playing deep second base play. But I mean, whether you agree with the play, like agree with the outlaw or not, like, Rizzo may turn into one of my favorite players to watch because the dude doesn't strike out, and with his average, he's going to rise it. He's going to be a 4-tool guy, hitting for contact and power, fielding all right, and an all right arm at first, thrown at the third. We've seen the defensive plays before. A 4-tool guy in his mid-30s. and the Yankees have him locked up for 3 or 4 more years, I think. So
I think it was
I think it was a great
contract.
move.
Yeah,
I think it was a great move from the Yankees.
yeah. Look, I think you're right. It's a perfect fit for Anthony Rizzo on this team, right? That gives you a guy, like you said, left-handed pitcher. Sorry, batter. He could hit the home runs once the weather does warm up there in New York. And you know, he's a winner, right? And he was on that team that won that Cubs World Series after so many years. Yeah, he fits this team very well. I think that's a great start to their off season here for the New York Yankees. But again, I think there's more. Obviously, the big elephant in the room is about Aaron Judge for this team as well. So we'll see kind of how things kind of transpire for this New York Yankees team. And I think they probably still have some more question marks at the shortstop position as well.
Yeah, and I think this is your ideal future. Is you go with you have to re-sign Aaron Judge.
Mm-hmm.
I think you re-sign Andrew Benintendi too.
Yeah.
For the short time that he was with the team, they played well.
Yeah.
He hit for great average,
Yeah.
actually best average on the team if you count his KC days. And then you start Oswald Peraza at second base. You DH Glaber. You have Giancarlo either playing a solid left field, or you have Giancarlo DH and then Glaber's playing third over Donaldson. And then you go out and get a shortstop, or you keep IKF for a little bit, and then at the trade block, you get your shortstop.
Yeah, then didn't they re-sign IKF to a 1-year deal?
1-year deal. 1 year for 6, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember. But one more team.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was notable. The New and Electric, and kind of fun to watch, but they only scored 0 runs in their home ballpark in the playoffs. The Seattle Mariners, they go out and make an interesting move. They get the dude that put up 7 RBIs against them in the divisional series, in the wild card series.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you burned us, come over here. Let's add a 7th outfielder to the team, right? So, I mean, they traded away Eric Swanson, a dude in the bullpen, Eric Swanson. He's like a setup guy. He's going to be one of the better arms in that Blue Jays bullpen. And then a prospect in Adam Nako. The trade, I think, is a win-win for both teams. Toronto clears a hefty 1-year contract that they thought they couldn't resign, I guess. Resign, I guess.
Yeah.
They received a leverage bullpen arm that they desperately needed. And the Mariners, they grab a better Mitch Haniger to replace Mitch Haniger in a corner outfield spot. Seattle, they're birthing pitchers like Nick Cannon is birthing kids. The only the only need that I think the M's need is a shortstop. You move JP to second and go get a shortstop. There's 4 of them on the market there. I think one of the better fits for them is Dansby Swanson. I think the only negative for Seattle this offseason, they've been active. They went out and they traded Kyle Lewis for a fucking catcher, Cooper Hummel from the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
First off, why Lewis? His ceiling's pretty high in my opinion. He had 1 bad year and he's coming off of injury. So I would personally cut him a little bit of slack. He was the rookie of the year. They should have traded Winker and some cash for whoever they needed.
Yeah.
Winker's kind of just, dead weight sitting over there. Acquired him and what was the trade they acquired him in the offseason for? I can't remember off
for
the top
Winker.
Of my head. Yeah, it was. They got somebody else with Winker, I thought. But
Suarez, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, they got Suarez and Winker from Cincinnati, and then they went over and fleeced Cincinnati some more because they knew they got away with it the first time, and they went out and got Luis Castillo. At the trade deadline. But back to the catcher acquisition with Cooper Hummel. What happened to the legend of Big Dumper? It was literally the best bat you had on your team for the postseason, and now this trade made no sense. Finishing up with Toronto, the Blue Jays, they need pitching still. They added that setup man and Eric Swanson and a pitching prospect, but I still think they needed a lefty reliever and a starting pitcher, that like is better than Yusei Kikuchi. I think that's all you need. That's all you need, because Jose Barrios should be the guy. Kevin Gausman should be the guy. Like, and then you have Stripling, and you have 3 or 4 good starters there. And Alek Manoah is your ace.
Yeah.
You have Manoah and then 3 or 4 guys that can get you dubs.
Mm-hmm.
Just get one starter that's better than Kikuchi.
I thought Stripling was probably their second best pitcher all year.
I agree, but I think he was better in the bullpen as kind of like a leverage guy personally. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Johnny came on and said, no, like he's our second best starting pitcher. But
well, I mean, like, stats wise, and what we're like the eye test and just him winning games, and yeah, he was the second best pitcher behind Manoah, which kind of tells you that Kevin Gausman and Jose Barrios really needed to step it up or be better in this, going into next year, because I think Jose Barrios finished up with an ERA above 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I'm gonna rattle off quickly here some free agents that are still available in the American League, and you just one word, tell me a team that you ended up with.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So I think I only have 3 names because everybody else. Well, I'll start with Justin Verlander.
Dodgers. No, I'm saying Astros. I think I'm more comfortable in saying that he stays home.
Okay. Xander Bogaerts.
What's your comfortability level with like where Boston is?
I'm not very confident right now.
Xander ends up, I know I said Swanson's a perfect fit. Xander ends up in Seattle.
Okay. Carlos Correa.
Yankees.
Ooh, okay. Aaron Judge.
Yankees.
Okay. That's all I had. I had about 4 to 5 names there.
That's all you had?
At least in the American League, that's all we had.
DeGrom. I know he's not American League, but we could cheat.
Where did Tampa? Well, was connected to the Tampa Bay Rays. Where did that come from? As if Tampa Bay needs more pitching, they need hitting.
Yeah, that's facts. What are they doing? They traded G-Man Choi to the Pirates. That's their best bat. They're like best pop. Not their best bat, but best pop. G-Man Choi. What are the Pirates doing? We don't need it. We just got rid of Vogelbach.
That's why they brought him in as a replacement, Noah. He's going to go out and hit 30 bombs for you guys next year. All right. Do you have anything else for the American League or anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
Let's see. I think I'm done. I enjoyed this though. I really did.
Choi really got your has Noah
flustered
right now.
Doing? Like we had Ho Chi Minh or whatever his name was. No, it was Yoshi Susuga.
Yeah.
Like keep him for $1. Like that's all you needed to pay him. Instead they DFA him and then they bring in the more expensive dude. Oh my God.
Oh, I don't know what to tell you.
It's frustrating with my 2 teams because, like, one, the Tigers want to win, but they can't next year. They got too many starters that are still going to be out through the year with arm injuries. Mm-hmm. And the Pirates, like, they looked like they had good management, and they're going nowhere with some of these moves. It's like bargain deal moves that they hope to flip at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay, 3 more names quickly before we get out of here.
Let's do this.
3 more names. JD Martinez.
Oh, I love JD. And if you don't think that Boston's going to be able to retain these guys, okay. What if JD goes back to Houston?
I was just going to mention that. What if he goes back to Houston? Just have him play DH. You have Abreu at first. Jordan's going to play left. Hopefully, Michael.
Are we onto something healthy. With that? Are we there?
I think the key is going to be if they get Michael Brantley back on a cheap contract and he's able to play right field for you. I think you bring in JD.
If the owner is the sitting general manager and he doesn't give a shit what kind of money he pays, if he's gonna sit in there and be what's his name from the Mets for 2 months during the free agent frenzy.
For the what? Mets? You talking about the owner for the Mets?
Yeah.
Stephen Cohn?
Yeah, if he's going to be Daddy Cohen, Daddy Big Bucks, go out and get JD. We know it ended rough the first time because JD didn't fit their hitting philosophy the first time, but he's adjusted. He's got the Miguel Cabrera approach, right center all day long. Two more names.
Yeah, two more. Andrew Benintendi.
Yankees. I said that earlier.
And then
I think the Yankees do well in free agency. I really do. I hate to say that, but I think they're all overreacting.
I feel like you're going to say Yankees to this last guy. Well, he was a National League player, but Trey Turner.
No, I said Correa to Yankees.
Oh, yeah, Correa.
Trey Turner, I heard this team linked to him. I heard this team linked to Bogarts, but
Phillies.
I think Phillies make the most sense. He's kind of expensive, but does Dombrowski care? I don't think so.
I think the Phillies they need a leadoff guy that can hit for average. I mean, they had Schwarber leading off.
He's got to buy back into the contact. He sold out for power.
Yeah,
he's got to buy back into just get on base for the boppers behind you for Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, because Schwarber eventually when they do get Bryce Harper back, whether that's after All-Star break, because I know we had the Tommy John surgery as well.
He'll be back earlier than All-Star break if it's Tommy John. They don't know if it's Tommy John, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, that was my last couple ones. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode of the MLB Gambling Podcast. We'll be back throughout the offseason. Hopefully, we're going to get on a twice-a-week schedule here in some form or fashion, just talking about baseball, just kind of kicking the rubber and see what kind of more transpires as we get into the winter meetings for the MLB. And before we know it, we'll start doing division previews and MLB draft stuff and World Baseball Classic.
There you go.
Of course. I just saw another
Nasty
Nate. Nasty Nate's going to be pitching for the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah. I just saw that I think this week. So
they keep getting better. The Rosa's got a good squad.
Yeah, we do.
We have to get Dave Consig to hook us up with D-Row, please.
I'll have to shoot him a text and see what
D-Row's my guy. But I hit on a USA soccer parlay.
There you go.
I'm a better soccer gambler than Malcolm. Let's go.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell Malcolm to get you on the World Cup Gambling Podcast.
That would be a hilarious segment.
All right. Make sure to follow our Twitter account.
Did you see my tweet when I hit that?
Which one?
I said CP7. It stood for Christian.
Oh yeah.
Pulisic.
I saw you put
7.
I was like,
and I was like, he's not wearing 7. Shit.
Like, 10. Make sure to follow our Twitter account at MLBSGPN. Make sure to follow Noah on Twitter at 77NB. Am I correct?
Yep.
And follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd824. All right, we'll be back.
For the heck of it, we're giving out college basketball and NBA winners on Twitter right now.
Yeah. So make sure to follow. Make sure to follow the NBA Gambling Podcast account and the podcast feed. And again, make sure check out the college experience. It's championship week for college football, and then also college basketball is in full swing. So guys are absolutely crushing it over there. So make sure to check them out. Putting out so much content is the college experience. All right. We'll be back in some form or fashion next week to talk some more baseball. Till then, good luck with your picks. Let's break these books off and let it ride.